Dirt, I miss that. Dirt, gotta get back to I'm a dirt trackaholic. Call it what you call it. Saturday night, I am so Kenny Wallace on that. Dirt, I miss that. Dirt, gotta get back to it. I've been the Kenny Wallace of the rap game. Ever since I hit him with that dirt track thing. Now nationwide, everybody knows my name. They're like, mama, that's Kenny Montgomery. He sings that song we like. Yeah, boy, that's me. Roll out the trailer, I'm flossing. Them Hoosier tires glossing. Them cold kind we're tossing. They know I came to wreck it, yet I rarely bring out a caution. I hit the high side, boy, I park it for Brian Clausen.
Welcome to Throttled Up the Podcast. Often imitated, never duplicated. Your weekly home for the best in motorsports coverage.
Even your grandpa talking about, man, that boy too cold. We don't sit on 24s, we don't ride on spinners. I'm posted up on them 15s with platinum dirt defenders. Got kids up in my window like, hey Mo, are you gonna win it? Yeah, I hope y'all brought some stamps, cause y'all know I'm about to send it on that dirt.
Welcome back to Throttled Up the Podcast, and we are live in studio tonight, Matt. And as we talked last time, we're back to weekly, shows. And excited about that for sure. And getting some things back to normal.
Normalcy's good after everything we've dealt with over about the last year.
Yeah, everything we can get back to normal is 100% perfect. So we've got a guest in studio today, Matt. And I'm going to throw it to you because you are introduction master.
I don't know about that, but in the house, and I have the Pewter Hall Super Stock driver, number 96, Grant Simpson. Grant, good to have you in here.
Thanks for having me.
And let's jump in right, as we normally do. And Grant, I know that we know that there is a definite connection to why you are you're involved in racing, but for those who maybe don't know you as well, how'd you get into all this crazy stuff?
Well, actually, it started with my brother back in, I think it's late middle school, early high school, so I was about late elementary, early middle school for me. My dad put him in a mini sprint down in Linton, Indiana. I don't know if you guys remember that track, but
yeah,
it was a great track. And, we raced with, Briscoes and the Barrows and Niflis and some other people. And he started racing, and he kind of got out of it and got to about my junior year in high school. And I've been talking about racing dirt bikes because a bunch of my buddies was racing the GNCC and all that. And I get a text, and, you're not supposed to have your phones in high school, but I just happened to look at it. And
unless it's for racing.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, that's only acceptable. Seen a message from my dad saying, how would you want to go midget racing? I was like, what are you talking about? He texted me back. He's like, well, I can get a Kenyan midget, which is just a midget chassis with a 1200cc engine in it. They race. It's the same car you race on pavement and dirt. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we started there and did that for about 2-3 years. That went to a little wayside. We raced a Silver Crown car for actually about one race, about 10 laps till our engine went kaboom. So then we idled, and then we, as everyone's aware, we're in the super stocks now.
So what made you decide to go to a full-bodied car route? Because the Kenyan car and the Silver Crown, open wheel stuff, and now you're in a full-body car.
My dad had been helping Tommy East, the 12 car, a lot, and there's nothing not expensive about racing, so everything's expensive. But you look at these classes versus the other ones, and it's not that expensive. So, and driving 40 minutes home after a race is pretty nice from Brownstown.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
So the midget and the Silver Crown, if you wanted to race, you had to go to Belleville or Syracuse or Illinois and all that. Midget, we were going to Logan Sport and Indy quite often. So it just, and I mean, like we were saying, my papa Kenny Simpson,
That's what I was going to say. Your lineage actually goes back further than your brother there.
He he was a late model guy, and everyone knows him. And when he showed up, what I heard, never got to meet him, because he died when my dad was 18, so I wasn't even a thought at that point.
Right.
So from what I've heard, he was one of the ones to beat when he showed up to any track, and especially Brownstown.
Yeah. I can remember him. I was a kid, but I remember when he raced, and if he was on the racetrack, you better watch out.
Yeah.
And when you first of all, I want to translate when you ask, what brought him over to full body cars. That's called transitioning to the dark side.
I actually thought he got smart, but
so that I just wanted so you understood that was
you understand more technology but cheaper.
I'm not going there. No.
Because we've already talked about that.
Yes, I understand. Yes. We talked about it last time.
Yeah.
You're frustrating me right out of the gate.
Cheaper and still no starters.
Yeah.
You got to spare weight anywhere you can.
Oh yeah.
But you talk about with your grandpa there and that lineage. What's it feel like though now to be in even in the super stock at Brownstown Speedway, where just like Matt said right there, the memories and the stories of your grandfather are very, very strong.
It's special. It's some of the tracks I got to go to in the midget he raced at, like Anderson Speedway, he raced up there. But to come on the dirt and at Brownstown, where he's in the Hall of Fame, and he's won the Jackson 100 and all the wins that he's had over there, and it's just really, other than worrying about getting the car on the track the first time I was in the car that night and not killing it every single time, and it was just, you get out there and you're like, it's pretty cool. And I knew that once we got through last year, we raced twice last year. Once we got through last year in this off season, our plans of how the car looks now, it was even going to be even more special. So it definitely it is a neat thing. So
when you rolled out the first race you were there this year, before I even looked down at my race lineup and hot lap lineup there, I was like, my gosh, that looks just like Kenny's car, So I went right back to a kid, and then I seen your name. I was like, oh, there's got to be some relation there with that deal, So
yeah, it's like I said, it's the same car, same collar down to the chassis. That baby's, I don't know, I think it's a safety blue is what it's actually called. His last car he owned was a safety blue chassis with the red body, white panels on top with the white nose. So it's identical, other than I have a few more stickers on my car than he did. But
yeah, it's like you said, almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, everybody had a white nose, because I think that's the only color you could get the nose in was white.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Have you had the opportunity to watch some video of your grandfather race and kind of see the way he drove?
Oh yeah, I gotta watch a lot, and that's why I see a lot of people. They'll comment on my stuff, or they come up to me in the track and say, "Have you got that they call, I don't know what it's actually called, but they called the Simpson burp on the back stretch, where he basically everyone used to take that right rear off the back of the track and then launch back on." And I was like, no, I haven't got, I'm not brave enough yet for that. So, but yeah, I've watched a lot of video, and it's pretty neat. Been a lot better to watch them in person, but everything happens for a reason. So
in your defense, the track was a whole lot flatter back there. You might it might not work as well now that they've banked the track up. So.
Burping now's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
So what as you transition from the open wheel cars now into these super stocks, what are some of the biggest differences that you've had in that adjustment?
Not seeing your front tires. That's I got used to it quick, but and then your nose sticks out a lot farther. Where on the open wheels, you just have a small little bumper on the front. But adjusting really your depth perception on that is how far you are close to a car. How much more room you can go and all that. But I mean, driving wise, I like a tight race car, so I drive it about the same. So it's not much other than I can't hear anyone coming up on me in these stock cars because all the panels and open wheel, you can hear them, better. But
That seems like a lot of open wheel. It's almost like you're sitting in a kitchen chair.
oh yeah.
Are you more reclined in the super stock, or do you set yourself up still like
so
that?
Our open wheel, you are like you said, you're in a chair with your knees just straight down, your legs straight down. Where super stocks and stock cars, your legs are out, so that's a lot more comfortable, and you are reclined back a little bit in my chair, or racing seat. But I use the same seat I used in my midget.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
That's cool.
It actually worked out.
And then, it's interesting when you talk about depth perception and the nose and things like that, because, Matt, you'll remember when Derek Clegg made the switch from pure stock to super stock, it's the same exact thing he told us. The toughest thing was at the pure stock, he had gotten to that point of knowing how
Where
close
his
he
nose-
could get, and then he realized he was starting to get into some people's quarter panels, not on purpose, but because he didn't realize he was that far out there.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a challenge once you kind of get used to it.
Yeah, I think a big thing on that is starts of you want to be right on the dude's bumper, but you don't want to get up too far because if you get up
scoop
too
him up.
far, you scoop them up. You can flat the tires. I've seen that happen before I started racing, but that's just stuff you pay attention to. It's like, oh, don't want to do that.
What's it like running in that class? There's a lot of competition there in that super stock class over there. What's it like running in that class?
Tough. I even last year before I had a car, I went over there a couple times, and obviously late models, those guys are good. Most of them do it for a living because it was a Lucas Oil show that I went to. But watching that class, you're like, man, top. At that time, I was thinking top 5. And then once I got the car and, watched them more, I was like, 10 to 12 guys in this class can win. And, you guys have Mike Fields and Boatnick, they've been doing it for longer than I've been alive. So, not to call them old or anything if they're listening. But
That's okay. They're old.
no, but, they've been doing it longer, like I said, than I've been alive. So,
And
they
doing it
know-
at a very high level, too.
Yes.
I will
Yes.
call them both old, but absolutely
Yeah.
studs on the racetrack.
Yes.
Boatnick's younger than me.
But I've called you old. Let's not act like that was a high. I contradicted myself.
I
there.
know.
But
You're in the category.
And like I've heard you guys say before, because I listen to this every week. Is I truly believe that is the most competitive class over there, and not just because I'm in it now, but I still believe that.
We've said that actually for a couple years now, and I don't think it's they've proved us wrong yet.
No,
Because you got all the Chastain brothers,
yes, they're tough and night in, night out.
Mike Fields,
Well, and
Boatnick. JT Huffman now
Yeah,
has really reared his head as a guy in that class.
Well, I think the thing is that makes it such a competitive class is even as people move up or go out of the class, it seems like that next person is always there.
Yeah.
You go back, a couple years ago and we talk about, the Jason Haymans, who moved on and now is retired. But you look at those, but there's somebody else that's come along and replaced. So it's one of the toughest, tracks, to be at for sure, and groups to run with.
But they're classy guys.
Oh.
They will race
yeah.
right with you, and it's not, I'm going to junk them. They are, everybody in that class, I think, is very, very classy.
I can attest to that because, we've had some problems this year. And, one of the first ones is like JT Huffman, his whole family, come down, anything you need. Every racing family is like that. That's just how racing is.
Well, if Huffman's whole family came down there, do you have enough room in your pit to move? The blue crew gets down there. You got.
Yeah.
Well, this was the night they were parked next to us, so we didn't have to worry about that. But no, Matt Boatnick's been over and helped. Tommy East, which we're good friends with, has helped. Chastain's came down and helped. Almost everyone. Adam Sasser helped us a ton last weekend just to get us back on for the B main. So it's like if they're not busy with their car and you need help, they're there, and that's what I like.
That's a great thing about racing.
Yeah.
Is that right? The camaraderie that you have in the pits.
And when we can return the favor, we try to do it. So.
And it's huge. We talk about how do you continue to grow this sport, and that's the one thing I think we nail it on is that if you're a new driver coming in, there's not an intimidation factor. It's not about, they want you to be on the track and race with them because they want to beat you. Don't get me wrong, ultra competitive. They're going to look to beat you and handily, but they want you out there because it's what makes them better, and that's the best thing about it.
You and I both being from football backgrounds, we would never walk across the field and say, "Oh, you guys don't have enough shoulder pads? Well, we got some."
Oh no, hell no.
That would never ever happen.
No. I would laugh.
Yeah.
And just continue on like it would. No, there's.
You need what?
See ya. I mean, no, there, and it's a whole different mindset for sure. I mean, it is a whole different deal. Hey, let's take a quick first break here, get in our sponsors and pay some bills, and we'll be right back with Grant Simpson. Race Clean Products is the cleanest brand in motorsports. No matter if you're using the original or the all-new Fast Hands formula, you are guaranteed to keep your hands clean under the most intense racing situations. The original or blue formula is perfect to keep at the sink in your race shop and will ensure that you won't come home covered in grease and grime. But for those unavoidable messes at the track, and you don't have time for a sink and water, be sure to have a bottle of Fast Hands in your trailer. It could be your most important tool. Race Clean products can be found at www.goraceclean.com. Dirt to Media continues to expand its coverage of local racing for race fans. They've expanded to over 70 live events for the 2021 racing season. The live event schedule includes live weekly racing from Brownstown Speedway, Salem Speedway, and Thunder Valley. VIP members can still get all their on-demand racing coverage the next day for one monthly fee. And their monthly fee also includes live racing action each week from Thunder Valley Raceway. In addition to all of this local action, be on the lookout for special events from regional tracks around the Midwest. If you aren't getting your racing action from DirtToMedia.tv, you're missing out on the best coverage in the Midwest.
Gilpin Electric and Generator Services is a customer-first company that takes care of all your electric and generator needs. They are your go-to dealer, installer, and generator service company. Don't be stuck without power during severe weather this year. Contact Gilpin Electric and Generator Services on Facebook or call them at 812-953-1261.
We've all heard horror stories about insurance companies and insurance agents. Let me tell you about my family's agent, Tommy Taylor. Tommy is an agent at Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and is a multi-line agent that can keep all your insurance in one place. Why is a dedicated agent so important? When you have the unexpected occur, you'd much rather know the person on the other end of the phone. Contact info for Tommy, 812-372-4483 at extension 2447, or look him up on Facebook at Tommy Taylor, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't be another horror story. Stop knocking on wood and relying on a 1-800 number. Trust Tommy Taylor today. All right, and before we jump right back in here in the interview, I do want to announce one other thing. If you haven't seen because my volume was off. So text the go 812-203-5080. And like I just said, you didn't hear, but an opportunity to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Lots of news coming back. The GOAT will text back. He's going to be sending out a lot of stuff about Fresh Prince, Dirt to Media, information about Thirsty Goat Entertainment, Throttled Up, lots of stuff. So go over, get a text to him, get a chance to win. So I also want to say this real quick as we jump right back in here. For those of you who do enjoy the opportunity to watch all of your racing action live on Dirt to Media, especially at Brownstown Speedway, exciting news. The fair races, both Thursday night and Saturday, will both be live broadcasted from Brownstown Speedway. So exciting stuff. Plan to get over there. and get your subscription, your pay-per-view to watch both of those races. Grant, what's the number one thing you feel like you've learned throughout this year? What's the biggest thing that you're like, okay, that's something I will never forget again?
There's a lot because I've learned a lot this year. Being in this class for the first year, but I don't know. I've learned it before, but in this being in a new car, I'm learning it again. It's basically, and it sounds dumb, but go slow to go fast. And definitely on Brownstown with how slick it gets, it's, going around the corners, it's more of you're just one to go slow and you're eventually going to go faster. Sounds dumb, but it does work.
Cole Trickle learned that in Days of Thunder. So.
Yeah.
100%. But when you talk about, you said earlier you like a tight race car. How do you like your racetrack to be?
Brownstown, I've not learned how to run that top yet. So, really, if there's a lot of moisture on the bottom, that's, what I'm going to try to strive for and probably be better on, right now. So I get that definitely in this car.
Last Saturday, just walking across it, it seemed like it never slicked off. It felt like it stayed heavy all night.
With the weather that we had and the rain the night before, you had a good feeling it wasn't still going to be a lot of moisture in it, which I did like how that track was last week. Really, it was a little slick in the middle, but there was still some grip. Bottom was good. Top was, I had to run the top in the B main just to try to get up there, and it was fast. So I did kind of learn a little bit, still struggled a little bit, but, so it's almost like copying, I think it was Scott you had on last week.
Yep.
It's, if there's a top and the bottom and then right through the middle slick, because, there's not a lot of slide jobs in stock cars, but there's a few every now and then.
Now we do know he's a listener.
Yeah.
Everybody comes on and says they listen, but
No,
he pulled it right out right there. That was good.
We appreciate that, by the way.
Good stuff. But no, I will say this. Obviously, we've said on here a lot of times I love a slick racetrack.
Yeah.
But I totally get where Scott Traylor was coming from too. And if you, in a picture perfect world, if you can draw it up, traction at the bottom, traction at the top with a huge slide potential in the middle is beautiful.
Well, I think the late models last week showed that because Scott James was very dominant in the bottom like he always is. And Gilpin ran his line at the top like he always does, and that got interesting.
Yeah, real interesting, real fast.
Yeah.
And,
if James hadn't have broke, I think that would have been even closer.
I can't disagree with that at all. And it's just, it goes back to, and we've said it on here, and this isn't taken away from Devin's skills at any racetrack, so I don't want anyone to take it like that. But my gosh, you are not going to. It's going to be really, really tough to come into Brownstown and knock him off.
I agree.
He has got that place figured out, and it's easy for him.
Yep.
And big win for him in the Bobby Wilson Memorial there Saturday night, and cool to see some of those other guys that showed up, though. To see K-Rob back there at Brownstown, and like you said, Scott James back at Brownstown. So Lanigan, yeah, some really, really cool ones. But before we move on, I'll throw that out later. Actually, I'm going to hold off on it right now. I was going to say something, but it's just not the right time.
Okay.
So I'll hold off on it.
See, he just piqued curiosity everywhere.
Yeah,
So now everyone's got to stay till the end.
That's cliffhanger.
Smart.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
We just needed dramatic music, man.
I don't have any more anymore. I don't even know where I'm going now because I had my vision and I pulled it back.
I see.
So we were talking a little bit off air, though. Obviously Brownstown, really where you're trying to figure out where's those next tracks that you're looking, to kind of branch out to.
We hit Thunder Valley a couple times this year. That was more so when we were having problems at Brownstown. We were trying to figure it out down there. And that's a fun little track. Of course, you're going down there, and as soon as you pull in, JT Huffman's there. He's got to beat down there. So.
Well, yeah, when you come in town, they're already.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. So, but probably Bloomington, next one on my list. Just because I've been to a lot of races up there. My papa used to run up there. When they did race there, so it'd be another track to hit that he's raced on that I get a race on. Really, maybe Putmanville every now and then, but other than that, for around here, those would be the tracks.
Those are all good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Superstocks put on a good show at Bloomington.
Yes.
That's a really fun track to go watch Superstocks on for sure. What's your goals here?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Moving on throughout the rest of the year.
Really just get a good complete night, and I get it's racing. It's hard to have those, and when you do get them, they're far and few between. But we're chasing Rookie of the Year right now for this class. First couple of weeks put us behind in points, so we're chasing Isaiah Sasser, and he's doing really well this year as well. So it's not been easy catching him in points, but we're back up in the top 10, I believe. In points, I think he may be 9th or somewhere 8th, somewhere in there. So I'd like to really that's my number one goal is to try to get my name in the record books over there. Just because my papa's name's in there, so it'd be cool. There's not been another Simpson really race over there other than him. My dad did a couple times, but not long. So that's really what, and just more consistent finishes in the top 10, and we've shown that we can be top 5. 1 week we finished 4th, so maybe some more top 5s. If a win somehow sneaks in there this year, it'd be really cool. But like we were saying, it's a hard class, so we're not there yet. We're not in that group of guys yet. A little bit more, setup to do on our car to figure it out. Still learning. So the goal, Rookie of the Year, and just try to stay top 10 points and finish out strong.
What's your plans for next 5 years?
Really, this class is fun. I don't have any desire really to go modified or late model. Just it's so expensive. If you don't have good sponsors or a partner, or you're not driving for someone, it's really expensive. And I've learned that just from having buddies that own them, and which everyone knows racing is expensive, but those classes are, you gotta spend some money to be up front. If I could ever, I don't know, hot lap a car or something, late model just to do it, just because my papa ran late models, I'd do it. But I'm not saying I'd stay put with super stocks, but that's just, I say right now, that's probably where I'll be.
Gotcha.
So.
It's good to have a consistent person in that class that, Matt Boatnick's kind of moved more modified than he is. He'll get in Denny's super stock every once in a while, and Mike Fields probably nearing his career.
This is it.
Yeah, that's what he had told me earlier in the year that this was his last year. So
which, man, and just to touch on that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but to touch on that, wow.
Yeah.
Just to flat out say it. You talk about a guy that has been so good for the sport.
Yeah.
Across the board. Just thank you to Mike Fields.
Yeah.
Just a really, really special deal.
But what I was adding on there was, it's just good to see a guy to be always in a super stock, that when you show up, it's like, I know that guy's going to be racing super stock. So that's,
It's a fun class, and like you guys said earlier, all the drivers are classy. There's not really any dirty drivers. That it's going to be a clean race and it's going to be fun. So it's really just a group that hopefully sticks together, and then we add to it.
Yeah.
Jordan Weaver just put a comment here on the Throttled Up Facebook page, and it's a good one. He said he's always said the super stock class is the best bang for your buck. They're racing for the same amount as us every week, and there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
Those modified super stock payouts are very, very similar, and there's some big super stock shows that you can go hit too.
Yes.
So it's a really, really good class.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So when you look back, obviously, your grandpa's influence on you. Who are some other drivers, though, that growing up that you were, you kind of idolized or was a fan of?
Stock car route, because, it had the Kenny Simpson Memorial till I was about 8 years old. Last year was 2004. So, for sure, John Gill. He's a great family friend.
Well, he drove the Dalton car,
Yeah.
number 96
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
so that was...
So he's a great family friend, and, anytime I went late model racing, he was racing, he was my pick, which, obviously was a good pick.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid one.
Usually. On the open wheel side, you have like Jeff Blaine Jr. Out of Springville. He was always tough.
Yep.
Usually in his own stuff.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was working on his own stuff, and so he knew what he had. But he was always a tough driver. Dave Darlin, helped me. He helped me a lot, really, more behind the scenes. When I raced, first started in Silver Crown, even though we raced in one race. But the team RW that he drove for, Motorsports that he drove for, he was always in the shop. So, a lot of good, he's forgot more stuff than I've known.
That's about everybody when it comes to Dave.
He's very smart. Another one is Michael Lewis. He was a pavement guy on USAC. He raced dirt too, but he was one of the, he's real humble, so he'd probably say not, but he's one of the best, I think, USAC pavement racers there's been in midgets and sprint cars. He raced in Silver Crown too. He's actually one of the few when Brady Bacon left Terre Haute I think a month or so ago. There was another picture circulating around of a Silver Crown car, and he left Terre Haute in turn 1 and 2 in the Silver Crown car, and almost the same height as what Brady Bacon did. So, but he's another one. He's helped me tremendously. In the midget, Silver Crown, and even now. Not only with his connections he has in racing, but, knowledge and all that. So, really, those are my 4, probably, drivers.
And I want to go back. You brought up John Gill there, and I have to throw this out there, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. It's actually my setup for tomorrow on my drive to work, but Michael Rigsby just did a big sit-down interview with John Gill, and if you haven't had a chance yet, the Rigsby Report, Rigsby kills it anytime he gets a chance to do some of these passion projects, as I'll call it. And if people don't know, Rigsby was a huge, obviously late model fan as a kid, John Gill fan. So if you haven't had a chance yet, get over to the Rigsby Report. I will admit I've not listened to it yet. Tomorrow morning, on my way.
I've not listened to it either, but Chelsea listened to it and said it was fabulous.
Yeah, so I give a lot. I got to give a shout out where it's due, and anytime Rigsby gets to do some of those passion projects, they usually come out pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to him, and like I said, fans around here, Rigsby Report, the John Gill interview, go check that out.
Definitely worth it.
So, and I got to say, everyone you just listed there is a darn good group to be wanting to follow and emulate for sure. And so what's it like now? You have these connections and these. Looking at a week. You have a week that you struggle. You got a tough week, and you've talked on here about you've had some ups and downs. You want to see a complete night. Who's that first person that you call and say, hey, what we got to do? What are we doing wrong here? What are we missing?
It's usually just me and my dad and another guy, James Randolph, that helps me. That when we just get back in the shop, because obviously, like I said, we're still learning. My dad's been away from the stock cars for a while, so he's still learning the setups and what it takes, and so it's really just us three sitting down and going back over the week before, and our big problem has been the heat races. We have struggled real bad. I've not started inside the top 10 once this year. I think I have 4 top 10s. So I'd like to, eventually get into the top 10 starting and see how that goes, how that night goes and finishes. So it's really just whoever's at the track that week, talking to them, sometimes, talking to Tommy East, he helps a lot too on it. You know, we're usually somehow side by side racing. So he actually seen me hit a Uke tire a few weeks back, and he said, "Man, you moved that thing about 6 inches." I said, "Well, it gave me a bit better traction down on the bottom."
Hey, 5 tires is better than 4, except for
Yeah.
when it's a Uke tire.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the bad thing is you push them in, and Jim has them pushed right back
Yeah, I
out, so
know.
you gain nothing out of that.
No, yeah. I didn't mean to hit it. But
It hits back.
Oh,
you
yeah.
just ask Zach Burton.
Yeah.
And
or
Steve
or
Peden.
Steve Peden, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Either or.
But no, it's just, it's our group of guys that go to the track every week and are in the shop, 3-4 times a week trying to get better. And we just, got to learn somehow. So you might as well learn.
We'll get those group of guys out and all your sponsors real quick since you mentioned them there. Let's hear all you. Well, now we do this if you're a listener, so you should have had them ready.
I
there.
got them. I just got to get to my notes.
I can jump to our sponsors real quick and come back with them if you want me to.
I got them.
Okay, roll with it. Roll with it.
Let's take a minute. I got RPM Enterprise. That's Gloria Glormy. She's out in North Carolina. She's a huge race fan. So she just, has helped a lot, and I'm pretty sure she's listening. So East Vending, like I said, Tommy East, he's a racer of his own, but he still helps out when he can.
Man, can I jump on that one real quick and just say, Racer's Choice Coffee, unbelievable. Get on, Racer's Choice Products. I think it's racerschoiceproducts.com. If I'm wrong, Tommy, correct it. But
The beef jerky.
oh
is
my
off
God,
the
that's
chain.
what I have to.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
getting ready. The print shop is getting ready to place a heck of a Racer's Choice
Yeah.
beef
Yeah.
jerky order because it's unreal.
I know when he left us some when he was here. I know I didn't leave you a whole lot because I kept sitting here eating it.
No, we went through the majority of what
Yeah.
he left us
Yeah.
sitting here that night.
Yeah.
The bacon beef
Unreal.
jerky. Yeah.
And here's the worst part. I took the extra couple bags we had to the shop.
And you
'Cause
got none?
I thought I'd share it, but I ended up hiding the bags at the shop. And every time I opened the bag, I thought about going out and sharing it with everybody else. I just ended up eating the whole bag.
I don't blame you. That's
I'm just
some
gonna
good stuff, man.
be real. So yeah, sorry to interrupt
No,
you,
you're
Grant,
good.
but I had the
I 100%
beef jerky's crazy.
100% agree with that. Jerry Medlin, another just old-time racer, loves it. He's from Oklahoma. These next two are real big to us just because of family friends, but Jerry Davis Racing Engines and Davis Automotive with John Davis, they have helped. They're probably annoyed by us by now, but they have helped a lot, and always willing to help. So AJ Bolin at Remax Properties, the Handy Husband. It's a custom indoor remodeling in the Indy area. They helped out before on open wheel stuff, and they've came back for the stock car side. Brandon Barrett at Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, BR Jordy and Colby, the 812 crew, Neil Tire and Auto Service, B&B Cars Incorporated, Umfrist Masonry, Fleetwood and Sons Lawn Care, Weaver's Wrecker Service, Crossroads Truck Equipment in Bedford, Indiana, Bedford Home Furnishings in Bedford, Springer and Springer Insurance, Bush Monuments, Dasco Race Supply, Devin and Donnie over there, they've helped us a ton too, with just knowledge, really. And Radical Race Gear gave me a good custom suit this year. Nicholas Design, Trent Nicholas, so he's the one that made my car look like what it is, and he knocked that thing out of the ballpark.
One of the best there is.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Lewis, who I just talked about, he's helped a lot. Kyton and Kellix, Calber, one of my good buddies, 2 little kids. They wanted their name on a race car, so they saved up.
That's awesome.
That is very
So,
cool.
The Compton clan, Kelly and Jennifer and their daughter, they're from Seymour, and they've always been good family friends. And then T. Philly. And I want to also mention my crew with, like I said earlier, my dad, Jordan and James Randolph, Kevin Umfrist. I'm going to throw this guy in there because now I'm going to get a text message probably, and he'll be whining about Britton Gotzi. So,
my
yeah.
God.
He did let me. I'll give him. He did let me borrow his trailer when he wasn't racing one week when ours was not all done yet. So,
And he's never let you forget it.
no. I'm sure I'll still get a text either way.
I'll get one too, just because
Uh,
No, I got to say this. I'm going to interrupt you again there because you got some good ones here. But, hey, number one, nothing but love for Britton. And one of the coolest things I've ever had the chance to do. And we've got a lot of these cool ones. But obviously, and it's not interviewing Britton Gotzi on the pre-race show. That's not where I was going to go. Ray Gotzi, though, to sit and listen to Ray tell stories. And then as soon as we got off the air with that, and I wish we'd have left the cameras rolling, he told us how bad he ripped Britain at Circle City. And it was great. So, yeah, shout out to Britain.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the only way Ray was coming on if you guys invited Britain. So he had to get that in there.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He wanted to make sure he let us know that he still gets after it.
Yeah. No, and then I have Mark Perry, Cade Flynn, Reed Hamlin. And then also I want to thank Tanner Chastain, because when we went car hunting, Trey was getting out, and he was buying Trey's car, and he gave us an unbelievable price for a race-ready car, and really, we bought it, and then a few weeks later we had to make some adjustments just for me to be able to fit in the car. I'm a little bit bigger boy than Tanner is, so we was able to race. So, thanks to Tanner and Shelby and even just the whole Chastain family, any questions we've had, they've helped out too.
That's pretty awesome. That's an amazing group right there of people
yeah.
for sure. And
I'm amazed they know their cars because week in, week out, they're up front. So
I'm amazed at the distance between sponsors that you were able to latch onto. A
yeah,
lot
we
of
went
guys,
North Carolina to Oklahoma.
yeah, that's amazing that you got support like that out there. That was
people we just met in the Silver Crown Series that they just love racing. And it was Gloria and her husband Fred who passed away last year, and before he passed away, told her that any way you can keep racing, keep racing. So she's helped out more than she needed to, and much appreciated, and she loves racing. But
I'm going to give a shout out to any sponsor that jumps in and helps with racing, because unless you're a fan of it, like we are, or you're directly involved in other ways, you really don't realize how much you depend on your sponsors, for things that come up in their year.
I'll probably get blamed for this when I get home, but I did forget one. My mom, she's not a big fan of racing, but anything I do or anything my brother or sister do, she is 100% in our corner and supports us all the way. She, my Nana has dementia real bad, so she takes care of her all the time, so she's not been able to make it to, watching the grandstands. So thankful for Dirt 2 Media, having that live broadcast for, only $20. It's, good, really good price for a live event, and she's able to watch it every weekend we go race. So
That's awesome. And I do want to say that, and the coolest thing that we get from Dirt 2 Media is those stories.
Yeah.
And I got to give a shout out, Adam Stricker, good buddy of the show. He messages me almost weekly about how excited it is that his grandma can't get out and get to the track. She gets to watch him race. And she even gets on to him when he doesn't go race at a place that we're at, because I got a text as soon as Sunday came around. Are you guys going to have Circle City? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, Grandma wants to know. And I'm like, yeah, we got you. So that's the coolest thing for us. For anybody who, thinks otherwise, we're not making millions of dollars. We're still waiting for that to roll in. But we do it because we love it. We do it because of stories like that. And we want, to give something to local racing that it deserves but doesn't always get. So Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that. Speaking of sponsors, though, let's jump in here real quick for our second round of sponsors. And
Hey, Matt, what would you say is one of your most prized possessions?
Oh, it has to be my racing T-shirts.
And you've got an impressive collection. But I heard about a new place. P3RacingShirts.com is the one and only place offering genuine custom racing shirts with no minimum quantities. Their shirts are printed in full color using the latest technology in direct-to-garment printing. They have custom designs for several different car types and specialize in our favorite, dirt track racing.
That has to be great for the local driver. You don't have to buy all those up front.
Absolutely, and they don't have to hold all that inventory at home.
What did you say that was again?
P3RacingShirts.com.
Let's check them out. Schaefer Photo and Custom Tee is the place for any race fan to get racing memorabilia. Mark and Jamie Schaefer will work to make whatever custom photo product you would like, from prints, keychains, magnets, buttons, and much more. Stop by the Schaefer Photo and Custom Tee booth and let Bronze Bobby know what they can do for you.
P3 Graphics is one of Indiana's premier suppliers for motorsports wraps and apparel. P3 Graphics offers great pricing along with some of the best customer service in the industry. Give them a try on your next project and you won't be sorry. You can contact them via email, phone, or on Facebook on the P3 Graphics page. To find out more, go to www.p3graphics.com. Again, that's www.p3graphics.com.
Jeremy Owens has a reputation for being fast on the track, but also very clean in how he races other drivers. He takes the same approach to his business, OCC Construction and Seamless Gutters. He'll give you the best price, complete the job in the quickest timeline possible, all while giving you the best quality craftsmanship you can find. Jeremy believes that his word is everything, and the best form of advertising is word of mouth. He wants every customer happy when he finishes a job. So if it's new gutters, renovation projects, decks and patios, or a full home remodel, give OCC Construction and Seamless Gutters a call today. When you call them, let them know Thirsty Goat Entertainment sent you. You can contact OCC at 812-592-7899. And we are back, and they're, before we jumped off with our sponsors, we kind of broken down a little bit of last week and some of the winners. And I do want to give a big shout out to the third Peden sister, Steve, on his win.
I think he's the oldest.
Yeah, the oldest Peden sister and the ugliest, hands down. Not even a competition. But on his win the other night, Saturday night, at Brownstown Speedway. So shout out to Steve. It was a heck of a win. It was a good race.
It was a good race.
A heck of a win. And I got to also give a shout out to Tyler Collins, who
he didn't lose much on his maternity leave. I'll
man, he was pumping and doing everything.
Yes, he was. Yeah, that was. I was impressed.
And I know he was a little frustrated Sunday night at Circle City, but I'll give him credit. It was a one-lane racetrack, and except for him and Robert Rainey, who did everything they could to blow the top off and get a top line going, and Robert scrubbed both walls trying to get something going up there. And shout out for those guys. And I talked to Tyler afterwards, and Tyler said, man, he goes, I wasn't going to win unless I found something different than what they had, and I was willing to go take a chance. So
going back to Robert, though, I've seen him race at Ponderosa, and he ain't afraid of the wall.
Oh, no.
That wall, I don't know if it's because he's young, but he's not afraid of the wall at all.
No, I will say this. The thing is, his dad, Isaac, does such a good job of supporting him. Mm-hmm. Go try and find something, go make something happen. So, yeah, shout out to those guys. But, yeah, I wanted to make sure I got in that big shout out to the third Peden sister because heck of a job by him. So,
well, since we're going to – JT Huffman got a win.
Yeah.
So good job for him.
Second this year at Brownstown.
Yes.
Third. Second at Brownstown.
Second one at Brownstown.
Okay.
So I was glad for that for him. He because he was weighing out if he was going to come back or not after the first one, and I was glad to see him come back and glad to see him get another win.
Absolutely. And again, I want to say this too, because we talk about it all the time, and Jim Price catches a lot of flack, as any promoter does, but Jim catches a lot. Number one, any other promoter would have called the races off Friday night at 5 p.m.
Pretty much every other promoter did.
And I get that can be frustrating to some people. And I will be the first to admit, Saturday morning when it rolled around to 9:30, 10, and we didn't get a call, I'm sitting there and I'm cussing Jim up one side down the other saying, make this damn call, let's do this. But even when I pulled in with our trailer and I looked down and there was standing water in the grass on the fairgrounds, I thought, what is he thinking? There ain't a chance.
As the water was coming out of the back of the water truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, kudos to him. And he said, and I talked to him Sunday at Circle City, and he said at 9 o'clock I didn't think we could race. He said, but by 10, it had already changed so much that he said, I thought we can push this thing and do it. So again, I just want to give him a shout out because not only did he push it, but a great racing service and great racing all night long again. A really cool
We had
deal.
2 first-time winners Saturday night.
Yeah.
Pure stock there, Bailey Bowtie Jones, which it was requested that he is Bailey Bowtie.
Which is one of the coolest nicknames you could have.
Yes. And then Chris Hillman Jr. in the Hornets. He raced 2 classes there Saturday night, but was victorious in the Hornet.
Absolutely. So, Grant, I'm going to jump right back in here too. If you talk about wanting to, possibly hot lap a late model or feel that, get a chance to kind of venture out there. Is there any interest now about open wheel, about pavement racing, anything there, or you set it's dirt from here on out?
Yeah, I mean, I had tons of fun in pavement, but and also my pavement history that I have, I think, has helped me a lot at Brownstown. But yeah, no, it was hard to be passed up a 45-minute drive home, after a racetrack. It's just a lot more fun. I mean, dirt tracks, it's in my blood. So, no, probably not.
I'm glad to hear that.
No. I don't know how many different ways I can say no, but yeah. No, it's probably this for, as long as I can afford it and have good sponsors and partners, I'll keep doing it.
I love it. And now I do want to also throw out, we don't always get into this with a lot of the guests we have on here, but, you're involved in some other things outside of the racetrack too, because I asked you before we went on the air, I said, hey, you racing somewhere this weekend? Because Brownstown is off for the fair setup, but you got something else big going on.
Yeah, this weekend we're running for Rookie Year at Brownstown, and having some troubles with the car this year, so we're focusing mainly on Brownstown till we get that all figured out. And we decided to take the weekend off to get prepared for next week, have 2 races at the fair. So I have a big state tournament this weekend for softball. We've won state before in it 2 years ago, so we're up in the levels. So it's in my hometown, so Bedford. So, well, not my hometown. Hometown's Voca, but it's in my town, Bedford. So.
Don't worry, only about 12 people knew.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes apart. So, but yeah, I'll be competing in the state tournament. So hopefully that was the 812 crew. That was the team. That's our softball team name. So we're all from Lawrence County, basically.
Very cool. Very cool. And that's so we don't always get to talk anything outside of racing, what we do outside of that, but very cool that you're going to be competing in that this weekend, and we wish you the best of luck there for sure.
It. That's taking a big hold. Last year, that's about all I did. So last 2 years, every weekend I was going somewhere all over Indiana to play. So now
very cool.
It's racing, and friends they don't really understand dirt track racing, but they come to them and support me. So
yeah, we talked earlier. We have a mutual friend that I grew up with, and
probably past his bedtime.
Yeah, I'd say And the funny story was, it was I don't even remember what weekend it was, but I had gone down to present the QuickTime Award, and I get a text message because, Matt, you always do such a tremendous and elegant job of announcing me and slamming me at the same time.
I've never slammed you. I just said if you wanted a picture with Dustin Roller, you had to get fast time.
But I get a text as I'm coming back off the track, and it says, "Are you at the racetrack?" And Jordan Hawkins, I'll call him out here. Jordan Hawkins has never seen a dirt track in his life.
I don't think he even played in dirt.
Yeah, I don't think. If he did, he went right in and washed his hands off.
Love you, buddy.
But and I'm like, yeah. How do you know I'm at the racetrack? And he's like, I thought that was you on the track. And I'm like, are you at the racetrack? So found out he's friends with Grant, came out to support Grant. So cool deal. I mean, a guy that's never been to the racetrack. He was worried about the dirt flakes, flying up on him and getting on him.
He probably had a Ralph Lauren shirt on.
Well, I'm going to have to get him one of those like bubbles so that it doesn't get on him. But no, very cool. Again, just expanding the dirt track family and getting more people involved. So
you guys need to explain to him there are suites that would put him indoors at the racetrack.
Yeah, he can suffer. He'll be all right.
Yeah, not that good a friend.
Well, I didn't know if he rented it, you could hang out there.
I got a trailer. I got TV.
Okay, I was just helping you out.
Live feed to you.
He ended up hanging out in the trailer.
He did end up in the trailer for a little bit. But So no, so
I'll work on my introduction for you from now on.
oh god, I know what's
it'll
coming
be
now.
more elegant.
Yeah, well, I know what's coming now. Yeah, I'll be the fourth Peden sister, the ugly stepchild. But so Grant, hey man, I gotta say this though, just cool to get a chance to talk to you, and you know, I love the fact that you're over there and racing and competing, and the lineage, the family history continuing is so cool. But more than even that, just to continue to have people that want to get into this sport and be involved is huge, because it's what we love to do, and without people willing to take the financial risks that you do,
Yeah.
it's not going to be here anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably about a 5-year break. I really maybe went to about 3 races over that span, and my buddy ended up getting me to go to the Hall of Fame Classic, I think it was last year, early August. Is that when that is?
Yeah.
And we were sitting there, and he looked at me. He's like, "You miss it?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You know, it's fun." Well, 2 weeks later, that's when we ended up with a car, and we raced the Jackson 100 weekend and the final points night weekend. So missed the Jackson 100 by one car in the B main, then made it the second night. So.
And I apologize. I was not laughing at you telling that story. I got my Britton Gottsy text.
I got one on mine too, so
Yeah.
I haven't opened it.
I got keep talking shit and you'll catch these hands.
Oh.
I said I'll get my catcher's mitt. So
He'd break a nail.
he missed the point where I said nothing but love. But so he's a fool.
I will say that's when I did go over to his garage, a couple nights, helped him on his car. Well,
I'm sorry.
I supervised. I'm not gonna work on. I barely get dirty working on my car. I like to stay clean too. But now he's like, "You're not gonna help me?" I was like, "Yeah, I barely get dirty working on my car. I ain't gonna help you." I said, "Get someone else over here." But Ray would come out, and Ray had a few stories for me from my papaw. So it's it was cool getting back and hearing that too as well, especially from Ray when they raced side by side.
Oh yeah.
For a good amount of time, and he drove for Ray some, and I'm sure he could go hours on stories, but he only told a few.
That's awesome.
Before we get down to it, I do want to make a comment about one of our other friends of the show. Pretty good friend. I think he's up near the top of being on the show the most. Always had a lot of respect for him. Thought he thought well of things, but just got told last night he bought a Jeep. So now I don't know how much I feel about him anymore. So Justin Bowling, I really thought you was smarter than that, man. I just
I got the Jeep wave for you, Bowling.
yeah.
Don't you worry.
Yeah, we're sitting on the couch and Chelsea's like, Justin Bowling bought a Jeep. And I was like, I thought he was smarter than that. So
You just wait till you see what I ordered in for you. I got some things coming for you.
Don't forget your announcement either.
No, what I was going to say, it just wasn't the right time, and I wanted to check. It's nothing like that great, but I did want to say, on a serious note, please keep Ray Humphrey and the family and your thoughts and prayers. We got to talking about Devin, and it dawned on me thinking about Shelby and the supercar. Mm-hmm. We were kind of joking. That's why I kind of got off of it. But, again, keep Ray – in your thoughts, prayers, the family. I know we saw an update yesterday. Still in critical condition, but starting to do better.
Yes.
But just really, really surround that group with prayers, because again, that's why obviously no Raymond and no Shelby at Brownstown on Saturday night, and just want to say from all of us here at Throttled Up and Thirsty Goat Entertainment, prayers are out to you guys.
I did the prayer from the flag stand last Saturday, and I mentioned the Humphrey family and Shelby and all of them, and that's pretty hard to do when you got all those people staring at you while you do that, because that comes from the heart. And I couldn't get Rob was going to carry the flag because that was his dad's race, so I couldn't get back to the tower to do all the opening ceremony, so I did it from the flag stand, and that was probably really hard. Probably one of the hardest things I've done there.
And it's amazing. My 7-year-old, when we got back in, asked me, about who was Matt talking about? What was that? So it struck a chord with him. My 3-year-old, I was worried about running out and jumping in the car with Rob to carry the American flag. So I was trying to wrangle him, but the 7-year-old at least paid attention. So, but no, just nothing but prayers and hope for the family, and we're thinking about all of you. But Grant, man, we wish you the best of luck. Obviously, big week next week, 2 fair races, and we'll keep pulling for you the rest of the year, man. We appreciate you coming up and being on part of the show.
Yeah, and I do have one more thing, and he's probably going to kill me, but Tommy was on here a couple weeks ago, and you tried to give him the nickname Iceman. But I think us and the Chastines we were talking the other night, I think it ought to be the Candy Man.
Oh, that's good. East Vending.
Yeah, we were
I
all
can't
talking
wait
about
till
it.
Thursday now.
Oh, yes.
And he'll probably text me too, but I think that's a good nickname for him.
We're
That is
gonna
good.
have 3 or 4 fights in the pits next week just because of this episode. But no, I
That's
like
good.
the Candyman
I like
is
it a
really
lot.
good.
Yeah, that's good.
The Candyman can. But no, nothing but good wishes to you as well, and we appreciate you and wish you the best of luck.
Well, appreciate you having me on.
All right, everybody, and we will be back next week. Alan Etzel will be our guest, crate late model racer, former pavement racer, former been involved in figure eights, the whole 9 yards, but's jumped into this crate deal, and man,
He's grabbed it by the horns.
has done a heck of a job. And I got to say this, one of the coolest things, showed up at Circle City. They just put the car on the rollback from the wrecker service and rolled it right in on the rollback. It looked awesome. And so cool deal.
That's an old Chad Stapleton trick
It
right
was
there.
it was awesome, man, because for those who don't know, the toter and hauler got stuck at Brownstown on
Yeah.
Saturday night. They struggled getting it out, but they just rolled her in right there on the rollback and laid her down.
Well, he's got a great wrench with him. Gator, who's been around with everybody, is helping the Edsels now. So I'm sure he's passed a lot of knowledge on to him.
100%. So he'll be on with us next week. So get on and join us then. Again, thank you to Grant Simpson and Grant Simpson Racing, and get out to your local dirt track, support it this weekend. We will be with Dirt 2 Media. We'll be at Salem Speedway doing the race down there on Saturday. So check us out.